All right, so welcome, Sons of Fathers, to Activision. First, if I could get you guys to introduce yourselves and tell me, what I guess you do, sing, play, or whatever.
Well, my name's Paul Cawthon, and I play guitar and sing loud.
All right. My name is David Beck. I play upright bass and sing as well.
So we wanted to ask you a couple questions. As a company, we feel that we are artists as well. And so we want to be able to tie in what we do as a company with what you guys do as a band. As a company, we all have different creative roles. We have the developers and the studios who build the video games, music department, HR, art services. We all put in our own expertise to make every game have the quality that Activision is known for. And our creative ideas generate from all levels of the corporate ladder. Can you tell me how you guys work together as a team and as a band?
Dave and I started just songwriting, that's kind of how the whole thing started, singing and just writing songs together. And then finally we have the opportunity to work in a studio in Austin at any time we want. And Dave go in there and we mess with knobs and tones and songs, and that's kind of like the starting process. And then we'll have our wizards come in, like D's on the drums. He usually comes in first, and we usually get the rhythm section up and going. And, we just build it just like y'all kind of build it in a process, We
have the opportunity to really go into the studio all hours of the day, and I think that's key, is being able to have an idea, and while it's still fresh, lock it down. And that's proved to be some of the most creative times we've had, is right in the moment and straight to the track and not thinking about it too much,
So you both collaborate on both music and lyrics?
Oh yeah, everything. Like, one song can be different from the next. I could have a song written and, can't close down the last verse, and Dave just closes it down, or vice versa. Or, I'll have a melody and I can't write a word to save my life, and he'll end up writing all the words to the melodies I've come up with, or vice versa. I mean, it depends on the song. Like, you sit David down at a piano, he can write really well behind a piano as well as an acoustic or other instruments. So it's really good. He was in the studio for a long time, and I learned a lot about the studio being with him, but as far as production, we just always have seen eye to eye, and it's kind of been a growing process. We're always learning in there. There's always somebody out there that knows a little bit more than you too.
We've got pretty different styles of like production and ideas, which sometimes can conflict, but at the end of the day, when you have two different sort of ideas and you've come to a common ground, it's really stronger than you could have done on your own, which is it's hard to work like that sometimes, but at the end of the day, you have a better product.
You got to get out of your comfort zone, Oh
yeah. A couple of our company values speak to the creative process. Battle for the best idea and constant feedback equals constant growth. In the studio recording, I imagine you were always battling for the best sound or giving one another creative feedback as you work through the creative process. For instance, I heard that you had to cut down dozens of songs to 10 just for your
we had
latest album.
We had, before we went in and cut this last record, we had 32 songs that we had tracked. And that's sort of the ratio to get a good 10 songs.
We never stop writing, so the process never starts. When you're in the middle of a recording in one song, you've started another one, and it's throughout the, finishing a product and having one at the beginning and the baby stages of the song. It's you're hitting every element of it through finishing it and starting it. We never stop. It's kind of like an assembly line, and we're just churning them out as much as we can while the creative juices are flowing.
And a funny thing too is immediately after you finish a record, you have that feeling of like, God, if we could redo it right now and do it way better, and that never will go away. And that's what keeps you going. Okay, third record, we're gonna go into this and do way better than we did the second one. And once we finish the third one, I can guarantee you we'll be like, man, we should have done this. So you always have these things that you wish you could go back and redo, and I think that's what keeps you going on.
Double-edged sword, never stops.
Absolutely, we see that with our Call of Duty teams. They every year putting out something better, keep beating our own records, and so I can see how that ties in. And then speaking of the video game industry, we have to avidly stay ahead of technology curve. Platforms, technology, your fan base, everything is always adapting and growing. And you were both introduced to the music scene at a very young age, as far as I know, and came from very musical families. How have you witnessed the music, recording, music business, live performance world change and adapt, and what, I guess, do you enjoy or not enjoy about the ever-changing music industry?
David, he's more on the side of seeing the live tour and, going on tour buses at a young age. I did, my good friend, his father he owned a studio in Tyler, Texas, and I would go and I actually saw Leanne Rimes cut some tracks in this studio, and when I was real young, and I was like, man, this is really cool, but there was like 16 people in there, and like one thing that I have noticed the change is that it's becoming more independent in the studio. It's back to like the artist taking care of it and recording it and grinding it out and patching it all in and doing all the process rather than, hey, I'm just going to walk in here with the big label money and just sing into the can and leave. And that's what she did. She sang 3 takes and left. And like me and Dave, we're in there, we'll cut off track and we'll be like, man, it's too fast. And we've already done bass and guitar and drums. And we've been like, let's do it again. And we'll bring the click back and, we'll restart it. And it's changed in a good way because we're more hands-on, I feel, rather than, the big label thing. I mean, it'd be nice to just walk into the studio and everything be set up and all you got to do is cut your parts. But I'm thinking it's taking the fun and a lot of creative elements out of it, Yeah,
technology has really allowed for someone to make a completely commercial like record that sounds great in their bedroom
with a laptop.
Which you couldn't use, you weren't able to do that because it cost so much money to run a studio, and you had techs and you had people that worked on the machines, and so there had to be this giant industry around it. And now you really don't have to do that. So it's changing the game, and it's letting people who wouldn't have had a chance be heard, and I think that's a really cool thing.
The key that has never changed is having the right ears on the record and making the right decisions on it. If you go back and you look at the books and you see behind the scenes on who's making big key decisions on songs and stuff, that's what makes the hit record. I mean, if we'd have gone with artist decisions, you wouldn't have hits after hits on records. And, being able to step away from your own artistic element and have guys like your manager, my manager, Marty Schwartz, and Lloyd Maines, who produced with us, and, David, when you got more people on it and listening, especially the band as well, everybody's got good taste and their own taste. And it, like he was saying earlier, it pulls you in different directions and you end up coming up with a better product in the end.
How did you guys get together, and how'd you meet, and how'd you create this awesome band that you've got going on?
We were both living down in San Marcos, Texas. It's a little town just south of Austin. And we both had our own shows going on. We each had a solo act, and we were just working, and we kept running into each other. And we were colleagues. We were both in the same field, and we just kept running into each other and kept working. And we worked on some projects, producing records for other people. And that's sort of where we first started working together. Then our good friend Hallianna Finley, she invited us to New York for a week to go do a song swap. So it was me, Paul, and Hallianna. So we were all solo artists playing. And she ran off like the first day we got there, and so me and Paul were hanging out in New York City, 2 Texas boys in New York. And sort of over that week we realized that we had the same goals and the same drive. And it was like the last day before we were leaving. We were at a bar at like 3 a.m, and we decided when we got back to Austin we were gonna work
full throttle.
Take any other projects we're doing, just put them aside, and we're gonna focus on one thing. Which because you can't really spread yourself too thin, and that's sort of what we were doing. And so we decided, we're young right now, we can do this. Nobody's married, nobody has babies. let's do this thing. And so we haven't looked back since then. That was December 2010.
2010, yeah.
Now we're in sunny California. Talk to you.
It's all come together. I look back at it and I'm like, look how far we've gone. So far we've done things that people only dream about. Like I wrote down in the book the other day, I was like, I've forgotten more tours than people dream of. So it's been a good hayride so far.
I can't believe it's only been since 2010. Thank you so much for your time, and we can't wait for the show.
Yeah, well, thank you, Activision. Y'all are great. Keep on putting out awesome games that I continue to buy.
Well, you won't have to buy them anymore.
No. Love to.
Thank you.